Chapter 2. Jesus, 1. This is the true record of events, concerning Jesus, son of Joseph and Mary, which we have received by the hands of several who have lived within the circle of his light, and more especially, from one who is our earthly father in the faith. He being not the least, among the articulate ones, who knew Jesus, and a person of no mean estate, both in the distant land from whence he came, and in this, more virile land. For Jesus came, to fulfill the desires and longings of men expressed in certain holy books, but more so, in many, unlettered hearts. For it is written, that such is the nature of things. The tree springing from the yearning of men, shall not fail, to bear fruit. For the holy books can be likened to an egg, containing the embryonic hopes and desires of men. In the sacred books of the Eusini it is written, the Son of Man is the shepherd of men, and we know how diligently a shepherd tends his flocks. Jesus came not as a shepherd to drive, but as one bearing a guiding lantern to show the way. It is also written, the Son of Man is the deliverer of men, and while we know, from what we have to be delivered, those who lived in his land misunderstood the meaning. From the book of the Holy Mark, whose wife was one of our own fair race, her father being a Roman waykeeper, whose wife was barren, and having this homeborn lady, her mother, as a slave, had by her a child, whom he later adopted, and raised as a lady of estate. We learn much. But clearer to our understanding, is that knowledge concerning diet, imparted to us, by our earthly Father. Jesus, our Master, light of our life, was hung on the shameful cross in his 27th year. This being the 1099th year of Britain, in the reign of Tiberius, ruler of the Roman lands to the east. Within a year, Iliad and others departed from their homeland shore by ship. And though this was demasted in a heavy storm, it made safe haven in Sankel. There, he and his son were joined by several other holy persons. They tarried a while before crossing to Laidlow, from whence they took a ship to Tarsus. In the year of Britain, 1112, our father came from Rome with others, because of the decrees of Claudius, ruler of all the Romans to the east, seeking refuge, beyond the oppression of Roman might, where the true light could burn undisturbed. But the circle of Roman might spread ever wider, like a thrown fisherman's net. 13 years after our Master was hung on the cross, the Romans came to the fair land of Britain, and the might of their legions prevailed over the brave Kailedy, great battle king of all the Britons. He was the leader of fighting men, such as will not be seen again. He was carried off, betrayed, by an irrational woman. An honorable peace offering, to appease the argument of might, together with the British fount, of knowledge and wisdom. With him went the all-wise Fran, being held in honorable captivity, until returned, to the land of light, at the intercession of our Father. For those whom he befriended, had not forgotten him. For Iliad taught that the greatest wrong man can commit against man, is the betrayal of a friend. Now, the daughter of Kailedy was Gladys, red-haired, blue-eyed and slim, who married Pudens, commander of the legions, beloved of Paul the martyred in God, who died in the 1130th year of Britain. Line, son of Kailedy, brother of Gladys, being the first Christian in Rome. In the year of Britain 1127, there was a great outbreak of fighting, and many men sought refuge within the enclosure of Iliad, for the free Britons had risen, having been given an assurance of victory by no less than the battle goddess herself. Calling on Amaraeus and Comulos, the Britons followed their battle queen whose heart was afire, because of the rape of her daughters. She stood tall in stature and was serene of face, speaking deep but melodiously. She knew the mastery of letters and spoke 3 tongues. She had fair hair, hanging to her hips when not battle-girded. Her head was circled by a golden war coronet, and her tunic was of green and brown, interwoven in the manner of men. She wore a short cloak of purple. Thus she spoke before the battle. I speak to you as a woman whose house has been violated, and her daughters dishonored. We have been dealt with unjustly, And I appeal to you, not only as a queen, but more so as a woman. Britons who honor their womenfolk cannot regard this lightly. Unlike the squirming, Roman Nerotes, I do not rule over servile and docile, unmanly men, who are less than men. Nor, like he, who rules over peddlers and hucksters. Nor am I, like the cowardly man-woman, Nero, who surrounds himself with perverts and half-men, and slaves who satisfy obscene desires. Such is the nature of the vile culture these foreigners have introduced to our fair land. I rule over true men, little schooled in craftiness and deceit, real men born to fight, and withstand adversity. The code they live by is that of manliness. True men indeed who, in the cause of freedom, willingly heed the call to arms, and stake their lives on the outcome. They willingly offer themselves as a sacrifice for the future of their womenfolk and children, and their lands and property. As the leader of this brave breed of men, I fervently plead for the assistance of your strong right arms. Let us not shirk the task, or shun the opportunity, to strike a blow for freedom. I pray the gods of war, the overseers of battles, for victory. We have the duty to stamp out these infections on our land, these ruthless enemies, whose reputation is infamous. They are perverters of justice, promoters of depravity, and servants of greed. They are a race who enjoys unmanly pleasures, who delights in the infliction of pain on the helpless, but cringes like a dog at the prospect of its own suffering, whose approbation is more to be feared, and its friendship more to be shunned than its enmity. Never will I surrender to people whose ways I abhor, nor will I ever desire to live to see my countrymen treated as servile serfs. May the great godly powers be with us now, in the great testing time, as we gird ourselves to face the issue. Those brave inspiring words were of no avail, and Britain was lost, but the spirit could not be quenched, and manliness was maintained. It is not in victory that a race finds greatness, but in defeat. The knowledge of Christ came, not through peace and prosperity, but through persecution. That which is written is not a tale of victory, but of the glory that resides in defeat. The books which are the recipe for victory are written by defeated men. I, Elfed, write these things, but they are not from my own heart, but come from the hand of others. This is that Elfed who married Marcella, maid of Ilted, after the death of her husband, who tripped over a stone, and fell on a spike, and died, bent like a bow.